Good evening. Welcome to Unique Couples Sunday Night Live. Our topic tonight is how to have a picture perfect wedding and marriage with our special guest, Lyndah Wells of Lyndah Wells Photography. So, if you haven't subscribed, we want you to go ahead and subscribe to the Unique Couples YouTube channel. And if you have any questions you want to show, just let us know and type your comments in the chat and any takeaways in the chat. So, if you want to connect further with the founders of Unique Couples Marriage Club, Vito and Linda Patrick, you can connect with them in the private, exclusive Unique Couples private group and take your relationship to the next level with daily marriage tips and activities to do with your spouse. There should be a link in the chat to connect and join the Unique Couples Marriage Club today. If you are interested, type hashtag club in the comments, and there are limited spots available, so register today. So if you want to wake up excited about your love life, love yourself first, love like you've never been hurt, overcome the negative beliefs holding you hostage from showing up as your best self, stop feeling unloved, unwanted, and lonely, and you want to have a vibrant, healthy, and loving relationship, then join Lyndah for the Being Me conference being held this September the 27th, 2022 at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you have any questions or you answer yes to any of the statements, comment Being Me or click the link to register for the Being Me conference. So again, we want to welcome Lyndah Wells of Lyndah Wells Photography as our guest on today. How are you, Lyndah? You're muted. Can you hear me? You're frozen.
At Wrights Enterprise, our slogan is Dreams on Wheels. Let us customize a trailer to accommodate your business's needs, from clothing and apparel, shoes and accessories, to hair and nails. We are the perfect choice for your mobile business. Contact 646-8464 for more info and follow us on IG at Wrights_Enterprise242.
Can you hear me,
Hello.
Kathy?
So we want to welcome Lyndah back. How are you, Lyndah?
I'm good. I'm so sorry. I'm not sure what was happening with my
That's
internet
okay.
connection. It was just
That's okay.
sorry,
We understand. We had another commercial break.
I can hear you though.
You can hear us now, Lyndah. Can you hear us?
I said I can hear you and I can see you fine.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. So let's go ahead and let's get started. So we want you to share a little bit with our audience about who you are. How did you and your husband meet? When did you get married? Where are you from? And what do you do for a living? Any children or anything of interest that you would like for us to know?
Yes. So my name is Lyndah Wells. I am a wedding and portrait photographer. I'm also an educator based in Freeport, Grand Bahama, and I am married with 2 children. I have 2 girls. Their ages are 11 and 8. And I met my husband Douglas actually when I visited the Bahamas on vacation years ago. And I came with spring break with 2 girlfriends of mine, and I met him, and that was in 2000. So it was a while ago.
Oh, that's wonderful.
We dated long distance because I was still in college. I was still finishing up in college. And I decided to take the plunge. Things were going well, and I decided to move to the Bahamas in 2005. We got married after that, so we really did like a really long process, and we've been married since. As
Well, that's wonderful. Congratulations. So you're still going in and out. Can you hear me? And if you're watching now, you can hashtag live squad. And if you'll be watching later, you can hashtag replay. So we want to just remind you of the BNB conference that's coming up. And if you're interested in being a part of the conference, BNB conference, just go ahead and type in BNB in the link below, clicking the link or type in yes to any of the comments, and just go ahead and hashtag BNB, and Lyndah will reach out to you to give you more information on registering. And while we're waiting on Lyndah to join us again, we want to go ahead and give a special shout out to our Unique Couple sponsors and supporters. We have Hair to Please, The Nail Creation by Anna, Party with Serenity, Style Me Pretty, Cornerstone Insurance, Build Your Best Life with Deborah D. Smith, Total Grace Solutions with Thaddeus and Amanda Randolph, Alouette Designs, and K4 Podcast. All right, so we have Lyndah back with us again.
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what to say.
That's okay. You know what? We're going to get through this, and we're going to have a good time. So we're not going to let this stop us.
Yeah.
And we're going to get the information that we came seeking. All right. Excellent. So we did hear that, you and your husband met, you went on spring break, and you've been together ever since.
That's right. So we've been married now for 15 years.
Okay, congratulations.
And definitely it's we definitely complement each other. I came here really not knowing anyone, and have managed to kind of build a life here that I've been very blessed and really love.
That's a wonderful story. So you mentioned that you went to college. So as we move into our next question, so how did you start your photography business? And is this something that you studied in college, or what made you interested in starting a photography business? And most importantly, doing weddings?
So I've always been interested in arts. And, initially I thought I would be an architect. I then decided to, instead of doing architecture, to study. I actually studied 3-dimensional design and furniture design at university. So I've always been interested in interiors and photographing it. Once I met my husband and I decided that I was going to move to the Bahamas, photography wasn't in my life. I used to take photographs. It was more of a pastime, just something I did for fun. It was I never considered it would ever be a career for me. So when I moved to the Bahamas, I met a guy who kind of took me under his wing and mentored me. One of the very first jobs I got here, and I was just like an assistant, assisting him. And one day he said to me, I think you have a really good eye. He had a camera as well, so sometimes he would let me use it. And he said, I think you have a really good eye. He said, I think that photography is going to be your thing. And I was like, really? And I was like, yeah, I think so. And because I, at that point, was starting to make plans of starting a business here that was going to be more into the design, like interior design and like what I studied. And he knew that. And I think he was trying to say to me, I don't think that's it for you. I think photography is it. And I started like anybody else. I never considered that it would actually ever be a thing. It was just something that I was interested in. I started working for him, and then I was enjoying it so much. I was like, oh, let me buy my own camera, which I did. I bought a small camera, and I started just photographing things that I was interested in. I had recently come back with my husband. I went with him on a business trip to New York, and I went with him, and came back so inspired. I just wanted to create. I had like my best friend. I was like, okay, you're going to be my model. And I, photographed her, and I put the photos out on Facebook, and I got such a great response. People started messaging me, asking me how much did I charge if I did that, and I was like, no. It's just like a thing that I did. And from there, people started, just asking me. From there, a wedding planner saw my work, asked me if I did weddings, and kind of that's how I got into weddings.
That's wonderful. So, are you still in the architectural business? So, are you still in the corporate, or have you went full force into your own photography
I
business?
came out completely. Photography is 100% my thing now.
That's wonderful.
And so when I do design, it's just for me, it's for my spaces. So I absolutely enjoy putting together spaces. But no, I'm not doing that professionally.
Okay, so what were some of the challenges you faced moving from corporate, working a 9 to 5, to becoming an entrepreneur? And now that you're an entrepreneur, being a wife and a mother. So how are you able to juggle or manage all these any challenges that you face? And then how do you prioritize? How do you manage
Well, first
this
thing I want to
new?
say is that it's not easy. People can make it look easy, but it's not. For you to be successful, you really have to, coming out corporate where your day starts at 9 and it ends maybe at 6, and then you take a little bit of home with you. When you're an entrepreneur, you're on call all the time, and if you're not on call, you're thinking about things that maybe would make your business better and to do this. And then also you have children and a husband, and you have to balance a home life, making sure that you're happy at home, your children are happy at home, and things are getting done. Work, school schedules, volunteering, pickup times, all of that. So that was, I think, because I went into photography not starting it as a business, right? It was just a hobby. I didn't feel a lot of the pressure of, oh, if I don't succeed, I'll be deemed a failure, because for me, it was just fun. Whereas now I'm into like my third business. I think about those things. I'm like, okay, I'm just like, okay, so I have to get this done and this done. And it's like, no, this is a plan, and this is how much you've invested. So it has to make a profit. So it's a definite difference. Photography for me is a passion. I'm good at what I do, but I don't try not to get complacent. I try and work with other types of photographers that would influence me and make me better, or make me see things in a different way, so I can bring it back into my business. But yeah, photography for me has afforded me this great life, this amazing life that I live.
That's wonderful. And you mentioned passion. So when you're passionate about something, does it make it easier because you are passionate about it? You do feel that's your purpose and
For
you're
me,
having fun doing it?
yes, for me, definitely. My husband Douglas asked me one day, he was like, this a few years ago, he's like, don't you get bored, like weddings, like week after week? And I said, no, not really, because all the couples are different. So they're going to bring their own, their own personality, their own families, their uniqueness to every wedding. Yes, the ceremonies are the same or similar, but it's really in the people. And I am very much a people person. So that's why I think I really enjoy what I do. And when I feel like it's getting a little bit monotonous, I do my own personal photography, so that I try and separate the two. and for me, that even means having a separate camera that I do personal photography with, not my work cameras. Yeah, and I try and maybe travel with friends on like just a trip where there's no expectations, there's no clients to please. It's just you and what you create. Yeah.
That's wonderful. So you talked about also having your arts and architectural. So how do you connect your architectural background and your photography background to help your clients or your customers really just think outside of the box?
I love
Where
that
they
I love that you asked that, because it's a big thing of mine. I
Mhm.
think because I'm still so interested in design and architecture, and I feel like in the Bahamas, I feel we're so fortunate to be where we are. Our location is just really a dream destination. A lot of people want to come here for vacation, family get vacations, get married. And what draws them here is truly the weather, the sand, the sea, the blues, the colors. And I try and incorporate that in the photography. So you'll see in a lot of my photographs, you'll see wide environmental shots. You'll see shots where there's a significant piece of structure or architecture or something that typically says, hey, you're in the Bahamas, you are here. And I think my clients love that for them, because yes, I could put them up against any wall, and sometimes I do, to create a photo like that. But there'll always be photos in their albums that says, this is the Bahamas, you are here.
That's wonderful. So, as you talk about your couples and your clients, I read stories all the time about photographers that have, come up come up against, like, call them bridezillas. Um, so, um, so could you share with us one of your most challenging occasion that you've encountered photography, whether at the beginning stage or doing, after the wedding, that really stands out in your mind that may have made you say, you know what, I just don't want to do this anymore. I don't want to do this anymore.
That's so I do have a story like that.
Okay.
Unfortunately, now I look back on it, it happened pretty early on in my career. So when I started, I think within like 2 years, I photographed like 100% destination weddings, because I was working with a planner that specialized in destination weddings. And I was so new to the game. I was so green. I didn't know the right questions to ask. I wasn't familiar with contracts. Right at the beginning, I wasn't familiar with contracts. And just like my contracts were so like basic, or an agreement. I wouldn't even call it a contract. And, when a big part of photography is the deliverables. What are you delivering to your clients? Why are they paying you this money? And so I had a bride and it wasn't even the bride was fine. It was her mother.
Oh,
And after the wedding, everything went well at the wedding. After the wedding, when it came to deliver the gallery, she was asking me for things that I just had no experience in doing. And she was so mean to me on the emails. I was so fresh. I took it to heart, and in the end, I was just so upset. I was just like, okay, just have everything. Just take, I just want you to be gone. Like, I had no idea how to deal with people demanding things that it wasn't their right to have. They hadn't paid for that. And I just wanted just to please. Of course, I do want to please my clients, but also, we have contracts, we have agreements for a reason, not to be taken advantage of, to charge your worth. And she wrote to me multiple times, called the wedding planner. I really feel like she bullied me. And in the end, I gave her what she wanted. And I always feel like mistakes are where you learn to grow. So you take that and you move on and you make adjustments so things like that won't happen again. And that taught me a lesson. It really did. It taught me that I must have agreements where I say, okay, your photos are going to be delivered in this time, or I'm going to turn up at this time, and I'm leaving at this time, things like that. And that was a big lesson to me. And it took me a while to get over that.
well, I can not only imagine, because like I said, I've read about so many stories of photographers, talking about the way. I was like, is this really possible? Do they really go through this? And as you mentioned, dealing with outsiders, not only the couples, but you have the mother-in-law and I guess friends or whatever. But what are some of the biggest issues that you feel that couples face when related to their wedding plans and, the photography portion of it?
So I remember when I got married, I wasn't a photographer.
Mm-hmm.
And when I got engaged, like a lot of newly engaged couples, you reach out to a photographer for the first time and they give you their prices and you're like, oh, I had no idea that this is what it, is the rate for photography for weddings. And so I take that and I, put in so I like to be super clear with my clients. A lot of the issues they face are budget, right? So,
Mm-hmm.
or if their budget is not an issue, it is the expectations for the day, right? Because you could see an amazing wedding on Pinterest or Instagram, and you think your wedding is going to be like that. But for me, I look at your inspiration, but it's you in the photos. I have to make it about you. So trying to manage clients' expectations, my client experience from the very beginning, from when they reach out, I sort of lead them on the path of understanding this is how I work. And these photos that you see on my website, they're created because we have time to create these. If you just saying I only have like 10 minutes, and I do get that a lot. People say, oh, I just want like 10. And I'm like, well, to like, it would not be fair to you not to tell you these photos don't just take 10 minutes to get you to warm up, and then really be candid and then get these great shots and work around you till I get that right moment. So I always work with them with timelines and just give them really clear expectations. But a lot of the issues, newly engaged couples, they don't think about a lot of these things. And I think it's my job as a professional to say, hey, I've been in the game now for like 12 years. And this is what I see. And this is how we can, navigate this and make sure that, there's plenty of time for you to enjoy the day but also take like amazing photos.
That's wonderful. So I have a question, and it's a funny question. And it's just my inquiring mind. So you are a very beautiful lady, and you actually could be a model yourself.
Thank you.
So have you ever encountered when you go to maybe meet with the bride and groom, maybe some jealousy issues from the bride
I've
or
Well, I've never ever experienced that. Ever.
good?
No, I've never experienced that. And thank you for the compliment. I've never sometimes I do get a lot of, oh my gosh, from guests. I can't
Mhm.
believe you're the photographer. Let me take a picture of you. And they want to take a photo of me. But that's just like something that happens in the job. But you should see me on the wedding day though. Like this is how I start off, but by the end of the day, I'm like covered in sweat and like it's a long day. It's like a 10-hour day of lugging 2 cameras, lighting gear, everything, like moving up and down. Yeah.
That's good that you've never experienced it, and we hope and pray that you don't.
I hope and pray that I
I know, because sometimes I'd be wondering. I was like, okay, well, does the bride say, well, wear this, wear that? You know how it's their day, and they don't want anybody
Yes.
to take away from their
Well,
day.
that's what they do. I always just stick to a really simple. I like to wear like rompers for black. I keep it simple. Sometimes a little pop of color, but I just don't want anything of mine distracting me from making the very best photo I can of my couples. Sometimes you'll see me on the floor, like shooting up, so I make sure I wear trousers. I don't want anyone like thinking, oh, and I've had some wardrobe, disasters, and I learned my lesson. I shot a wedding in the height of summer here, August, and
Ooh.
I wore a blouse and a bra, and everything got soaked. It was just soaked through, and I had remembered to bring an extra shirt, but unfortunately for me, it was white. So when I put on the second shirt, my bra that was wet just
Mhm.
like had 2 patches.
Oh my goodness, I know
Going
that was
through the white
hilarious.
t-shirt. And I was just like, oh, I was like, never again bring a white shirt as a backup. I always a dark shirt.
All right, well, the good lessons learned. So, how can couples make sure their wedding pictures are picture perfect, like that bride and well, I have another question. So have you encountered like a groom that's just really demanding, that they're not never satisfied? So, how can you make sure the couple make sure their wedding pictures are perfect?
So I think, like I mentioned earlier, it's like managing expectations.
Mm-hmm.
So when they inquire with me, I ask, how did you find me? Did you look through my Instagram or my website? Did you find me through a blog post? And regardless of how they find me, once we start talking, I send them some slideshows of my work. I'll send them like 3 slideshows of my work so they can get a really good sense of how I work, because everybody's eye is different, every photographer is different. So I feel that once they see that, they know that I'm not going to be a photographer that's doing something that, they haven't seen on my website.
Mm-hmm.
But then you do get couples, they'll reach out and they'll say something like, oh, the groom is really self-conscious and doesn't want to take photos, and he's only given me 5 minutes. And I get that,
Mm-hmm.
actually. And I'm like, okay, so I will link them to, I have a blog post that on engagement sessions and just getting the groom, like the fiance, comfortable and what he's to expect. And also before the shoot, with a timeline, I'll send little bits of information, like just prepping for the session, making sure your ring is cleaned, and if you're don't like get a tan, like, or like do something drastic with the skin, like beforehand, and just making them feel comfortable so that when we turn up on the day. And I also ask personal questions about how do they meet, what's their favorite food, what's the perfect date night, what would be their theme song, because I find that I can tell, like, personalities. They'll say like, oh, I love going to the gym, and like she loves like watching, like, and I'll bring that into the session and I'll talk about this and get them comfortable, get them relaxed. And like 9 times out of 10, those people that had issues beforehand, we are like, when we're done, we'll go and get a drink. So everything kind of melts away. Yeah.
Well, that's wonderful. So we talked about the couple, the wedding picture for the bride and the groom. So how do you have tips? Can you give couples when it's the family involved? Um, the families may not get along, or they may get along, or you have an overbearing mother-in-law,
Mm-hmm.
overbearing bridesmaid, or just family members. So what advice can you give couples when it comes to that family event, when the group photo of the wedding party, the family?
So in one of my questionnaires that I send off before the wedding day, I ask this question. I ask, are there any situations, family situations, that I should be aware of, any sensitive? And that is where you'd be surprised what they tell me. They don't want to stand next to somebody, or this person is going to try and do this. And I typically say to them, have somebody, not you. If you have a planner, then yes, but typically it will be like the best man or the bridesmaid, who is going to make sure that what we've discussed with times, because typically what happens with family photos is they happen right after the ceremony. And so I say, well, make sure the people that know they're going to be in the photos don't go off to get a drink. Let them stay behind. And then we also talk about, have somebody who's a point of contact, keep them. And then I'm very direct. So I'm like, okay, so we're going to do this family pose and then move on to the next. So there's no opportunity for somebody to really like dig their heels in if they're not supposed to be in a photo, or if the bride has made it known to me, or the groom has made it known to me, they only want certain photos with this person. And if for the rare occasion that they say they don't want a photo with that person, my second shooter will take a photo, but we might not deliver it. You know what I'm saying? So we
Mhm.
we keep all the guests happy, but so, the bride and groom are our clients, so we have to cater to them.
That's good. So, do you also sometimes feel that you're more than a photographer? Sometimes you are a counselor.
Yes, because, and you know what it is the relationship I have with my clients isn't just for the wedding day. It starts like a year before and ends a year after. It's a long
Okay.
relationship, because when they inquire, they're already in the planning mode. So let's say the wedding's going to be like the year after. So we
Mhm.
get inquiries 2022, the wedding's going to be in 2023. So we're already talking all this time. And then during that time, I'll get messages, DMs from them. Oh, what do you think of this? They've seen this, and how do I feel about this? Or sometimes you get messages that this person's a family member passed away, and they want to make sure they remember them during the ceremony, and they're going to have something present, and I have to remember all of this and, you know, speak to them. Sometimes they say, hey, we want to come and do an engagement session, so I get to know them in person, which is perfect if they're not local to here. And then after the wedding, we're designing their albums and like putting together what they're going to have as their, you know, either art for their, and then send that to them. And that takes time, because typically after a wedding, a lot of couples go away for their honeymoons, they get back into work, and, you know, the wedding is gone, but I'm still processing in it and making sure that those photos are not just digitals, they're going to be in an album that you're going to enjoy for many years to come, and that takes a while to design.
Okay, so it's just not, because in my mind, I was thinking, okay, so they say they want a photographer, they meet, and then they meet again at the wedding. So, you know, you really open that up. Like, no, it's not. It's like a,
Yeah.
you know,
So I check
once
in
we
with
make
them.
that initial contact, we're always in contact. So
Yeah.
it just doesn't work that way.
That's right. So, because you got to check in with them. I send an email about 4 months prior, just to say, hey, 4 months. And do you have any itineraries? About 2 months before, I'll send another question. It's a really detailed questionnaire, and my clients are really good at completing it. And that for me is the big one. It tells me, all right, who have you booked for your makeup? You know, what time is it starting? Who's doing, where's your dress from, your shoes? Because a lot of this information is couples want their wedding seen. You know, they want it out there, and it's fair to give everybody credit that has been involved in putting this wedding together. So I ask all this information when it's still fresh in their minds before the wedding. And like, are you bringing something special that's a must to photograph? Of course, I give them suggestions for a shot list. So we are working through every few months. I'm dropping an email, and then the one right before is I always shoot a message the night before saying, hey, big day tomorrow. I just want you to relax, stay in the moment. Because I remember my wedding day, it just went so fast. I was looking forward to it so much, and I had such an amazing time, but I couldn't believe it was over, you know? So I'm just like, you know, just enjoy the day and don't sweat the small stuff. Really don't sweat the small stuff. So I send that the night before, and they always appreciate that. Yeah.
That's beautiful. So we talked about early on about your most challenging occasion, but is it one occasion that sticks out in your mind that was so memorable that it wasn't challenging, but it was memorable?
I have two.
Okay.
One was what I consider to be really when my career started taking off. So as I mentioned, I was shooting like complete destination weddings. Even though I was living in the Bahamas, I had no local clients. And one day I got an email from a Bahamian bride. She wanted to get married, and I think she used to live here for a little bit in Freeport. She had moved to the capital, to Nassau, and she was like, I'm ready to fly you over, put you up in a hotel. You know, for somebody that's starting out, that to me was like, I can't believe someone's going to pay me to me, that was the start. I was like, okay, things are moving. This is a big thing. It was a big thing for me, you know? And then, so that, and truly that really was, because once she did that and I put her photos came out, people were like, oh, this is different. And we can get Lyndah and she can come over. So that was something that I felt like, yeah, this is something. And then the other one, I guess, would be one of my biggest weddings, which happened to be on another island, Luthra. They it was just such an amazing affair of parties the day before and day after, and then I was able to put together a team. So it wasn't just Lyndah shooting now, you know, I'm shooting with a second, a third, you know, like, so it was a very, very big wedding, very high-end wedding, very big wedding. And for me, that was just like, okay, I can see the fruits of your labor. Like, it's like you're considered you're respected in the industry. People love your work, and they think you're worth investing in for their wedding day. So yeah, so those are the two.
So if you could be flown anywhere in the world
Ooh.
to shoot a wedding or do more than weddings,
Uh-huh.
where would your dream destination be?
Oh, I think I'd love to. I know it's not in a lot of people's, maybe it's not, maybe, but I would actually like to go to Japan. I'd love
Okay.
to go to Japan. It's somewhere that I feel like, and for me, it's like when you connect with the right client, the ideal client that will fly you somewhere, even though they're not having a big wedding, that's what I consider, that's someone that really truly loves your work. So that for me, if someone flew me for an intimate wedding, so just a really small wedding with just their personal friends and family, Japan is somewhere that I'd love to visit. And yeah, so I think so. That would be.
Yeah, that's beautiful. I would have never thought about Japan, but that would, because just seeing the different displays on TV, it seems like a beautiful
Mm-hmm.
place to be. So I think that would be really nice.
Yeah.
So, and then I have one more question that I'm just inquiring mine. Have
Yeah.
you ever been booked for a wedding and the bride or the groom didn't show up? Has it ever
I
happened?
haven't, but my friends have. I haven't. I have
Mhm.
actually not been there, but I had a friend who the groom did not. Actually, he did turn up. He just refused to say the vows,
Oh,
and he left
wow.
the church. So he turned. Yeah. So as wedding photographers. Oh, sorry, my dog is like going crazy. As wedding photographers, we get together, we share stories of like
Mhm.
things that you just never believe happen. And yeah, there's been all sorts. I've done a wedding where uh as like I was the somebody put the wedding dress on a sprinkler in the hotel room, and the whole
Mhm.
sprinkler system for the entire hotel
Oh
went
my
off
goodness.
and drenched everything and everyone, and the wedding was postponed for like 3 or 4 hours. But that was interesting.
I bet it was. I bet it was an unhappy bride. Very unhappy.
Yes, yes. So
So,
that's why sometimes it's actually worth really considering, if you're doing a destination wedding, getting wedding insurance. It covers a lot of things.
so we're going to just don't let our audiences know is don't forget to miss out on the Unique Couples Marriage Club as Vinda and Lita share how to stay motivated, inspired, and be transformed in your marriage as you intelligently work on loving your spouse. If you want to learn more about our exclusive marriage club and get discounts to the Unique Couples in person and virtual events, just type hashtag club in the chat. And if you have any questions for Lyndah, please just put your questions in the chat and be sure to register for the Unique Clubs Marriage today. And don't forget about the BNB conference that's going to be held September 27th, 2022 at 7:30 p.m. And if you want to be a part of it, you can just click on the link that's in the chat or just hashtag BNB. And Lyndah, go ahead and tell our audience how they can connect with you on social media, any of your platforms
Thank
or
you.
your website.
So yeah, my website is my home on the interweb. So that's always first. It's just my name, lyndahwells.com. I do spell my name right here. You can see it on screen, Lyndah, Wells, WELLS.com. On all my social media, my handle is Lyndah Wells Photography, just TikTok, Instagram, Facebook. And I also have a YouTube channel that I post videos on, kind of behind the scenes videos and shoots, how I do what I do. So that is on YouTube, and it's Lyndah Wells on YouTube. So yeah, go ahead and subscribe, and so that you can see like more of my work. And yeah, that's it.
Yeah, I would love to see more of your work. And so we're going to go ahead and again give a special shout out to the Unique Couple sponsors and supporters. We have Hair to Please, The Nail Creation by Anna, Party with Serenity, Style Me Pretty, Cornerstone Insurance, Build Your Best Life with Deborah D. Smith, Total Great Solutions with Thaddeus and Amanda Randolph, Alowit Designs, and K4 Podcast. And if you have not received your free 7 days of loving your spouse tracker, type hashtag tracker in the comments below. The link is also in the descriptions and comments. So before we close, Lyndah, could you just give us 3 of your tips, your main tips that you would want to give our engaged couples that are planning a wedding on how to have the picture perfect photography?
So definitely, I think my number one tip is really to help make your day easier is really do consider hiring a planner. And if not a planner, then a day of coordinator. You need someone that can take the stress off you, so that you don't get bogged down in the details. Because this is marriage, it's a big thing, you know. Yeah, and so you need to enjoy it fully. And of course, your input once you hire a planner that can take your vision and put it, you know, make it come true, then you really do take a lot of weight off that. And they're the professionals. So what they're going to do is they're going to connect you with the best in the business, the best vendors. So that's one of my big tips is, you know, hire a planner or at least a day of coordinator to take the pressure off you and let your wedding really be your wedding, you know. And the second thing that I would say for engaged couples who are planning a photo shoot is their wedding is consider having an engagement session with whichever photographer that you pick, because what that does is it helps you get comfortable and familiarize yourself with that photographer, so that when on your wedding day you're not thinking, oh, do I look weird? Is this a good look? Because your photographer's already going to run you through the poses that work for you two as a couple. So yeah, consider an engagement session before the actual day. It's a time where you guys can just have fun and just love up on each other and get to know your photographer as well as creating some amazing images. So that would definitely be my top 2 tips.
Well, great. Those are some great tips. And thank you so much. And if you have not received your free 7 days of loving your spouse tracker, type hashtag tracker in the comments below. And the link is also in the descriptions and comments. And again, on tomorrow, we will love to see you all on the Stiffen Studio with the founders of Unique Couples Marriage Club and the How to Strengthen Your Marriage Facebook group, Vita and Lyndah Patrick, at 7:30 p.m. And also, just remember, this is a great platform to be a part of, Unique Couples Marriage Club and How to Strengthen Your Marriage. They have one-on-one counseling. It's confidential. They have different activities to really help, you know, just that one, if they can just help one. So we want to again thank Lyndah Wells from Lyndah Wells Photography for great tips and sharing information on how to have that picture perfect wedding with photography, and just great tips that we would never really think about. And, you know, not only for the bride, but how to coordinate with those family members, whether they are pushy or they want to be in charge. She really gave us some great information, and we want to thank her for taking time out. And it was a pleasure. And as we end, we want to just remember, Unique Couples, they are building stronger couples, healthy marriages, and happier families. Thank you all and have a great evening.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Lyndah.
At Wrights Enterprise, our slogan is Dreams on Wheels. Let us customize a trailer to accommodate your business's needs, from clothing and apparel, shoes and accessories, to hair and nails. We are the perfect choice for your mobile business. Contact 646-8464 for more info and follow us on IG at Wrights_Enterprise242.
you.